In this After Effects tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use Mocha for planar tracking and then use Photoshop's Generative Fill to create interesting visual effects very quickly right here in After Effects and Photoshop. For example, this footage of a sidewalk doesn't have much going on. We could make something happen right here on the sidewalk. Find a frame that works well for adding your elements. For example, frame 20 in this footage shows the full sidewalk. Go ahead and export that frame as a Photoshop layer. You can do that by going to Composition, Save Frame as Photoshop Layers. Once the file is saved in Photoshop, open it up in Photoshop. This is a single frame from Photoshop, and we can use the lasso tool to select the sidewalk. Here I've selected the sidewalk, and I want to add in something interesting. For example, if I select hole in the sidewalk, Photoshop will generate a hole in the sidewalk. Who knows what could pop out of there in our scene. Once you have something that you're happy with, and for this example, a simple hole in the sidewalk is enough, then save your Photoshop file. Make sure to hide the original layer so we have a transparent layer with our new element. Then go back to After Effects. Inside After Effects, make sure you have the movie selected, then select Animation, Track and Boris FX Mocha. Then inside the effects controls, click on Mocha. This opens up Mocha. Remember, we started on frame 20, and that's right where we are now. You can use the X-spline tool to select directly on the screen. Draw around where you see a plane. Remember, Mocha is a planar tracker, so select something that is all coplanar. The way this goes up in the air is no longer coplanar. Once you have everything selected, and you have the tracking motion options, here I'm also going to select perspective, then click Track Forward. Mocha will track everything using the image as a texture on this plane. Once it's tracked forward, go back to the original frame and then click Track Backwards. At the original frame, it's important to align the surface with the entire composition. If I click Show Surface, notice that the surface is here. I need to align the surface with the whole frame. Notice now the surface is aligned with the outside borders of the composition. Once this is done, label your layer, sidewalk. It may not seem important to label a single layer, but as you add more tracking layers to your project, it can get confusing. So get in the habit of labeling your layers. Then click Save in the upper left-hand corner of Mocha. You can close Mocha for After Effects. Back inside After Effects, we need to import the Photoshop layer that has our new image. Select the Photoshop layer and then import it as a composition and select Open. Then you can choose to merge layer styles into footage. Drag the new Photoshop layer composition to your composition with the tracking data. Make sure it's above. If you have it below, you won't be able to see the information. If I press play, we'll notice that nothing stays where it's supposed to. So go ahead and back to frame 20, select the movie clip, then go to the effects control panel. Select tracking data. Click Create Track Data in Mocha. Leave the export option on corner pin because our composition is the same size as the tracker. Then select Sidewalk Track 2 and apply Export. Now, if we press play, we'll see that our sidewalk hole stays right on the ground. Now, since this is a 2D track, eventually you'll start to see some parallax and perspective errors, but for the most part, it can work for very short clips. Hopefully this helps you use Mocha for After Effects planar tracking and Photoshop Generative Fill to add extra elements to your scenes very quickly.